Hello, hi, all the people of the project management group, which I've created in Facebook. I have promised that I'll be coming up with a presentation and we're discussing about project planning and scheduling. And I'll be practically using Microsoft Project in order to help you guys develop a basic concept of project planning. So to begin with the series of presentation, today is the first lecture, and I have chosen the topic of role of project planning. Okay, in any industry, a construction industry, a multinational company, pharmaceutical. So my name is Mohammed saud.arif, and I hold a BE in electronics engineering and masters in project management, and I've been serving as a project manager for the last decade in different companies. I was associated with refinery, with steel plant and automotive. So it's a short brief about myself. So now begin with the first slide: the role of project planning in construction industry. So basically, a project success relies upon a well built up schedule and a comprehensive planning, which means that the scope of work needs to be defined well and it needs to be freezed in order to track the projects. The implementation of project planning is in multinational companies, as I just discussed, in refinery, fertilizer sector, and automotive sector, and they're investing a hefty amount just to get the desired outcome and just to please their customers. Moving on to the next slide, it's called the planning and scheduling. So planning and scheduling is mostly taken as a synonymous word, which actually it is not, because scheduling is part of the planning effort. Okay, scheduling means developing something, some schedule, and okay, and it has some defined targets, like it's a definite start and a definite end, so it's called a scheduling. While overall planning means brainstorming and freezing the scope of works, estimation, and having a meeting with teams. So planning is considered as taken as a broader perspective, while scheduling is part of planning. Work breakdown structure: one of the most critical elements of project, which means as which is also called as WBS, as most of the people must be knowing. The name WS means that we have to develop a well-defined work, the scope, which has been which have been mutually agreed with the customer and the project manager. It will now be broken down into smaller work packages like mechanical works, civil works, electrical works, and all these works needs to be assigned to the technical manager, and they'll be held responsible for their feedback. Okay, so you as a project manager needs to consider that while developing the work breakdown structure, you need to sit with your technical managers and you have to jot down each and every point. Okay, so that everything can be measured and scheduled and controlled. Now this is the example of a typical example of a WBS, in which we have shown the works, civil works. This is the main WBSs, and it is further divided into sub WBSs. Okay, so it is a construction WBS, work breakdown structure, and further you can see the sub WBSs which are further aligned. Now, what is project planning? Okay, project planning is creating a document that will speak itself. It will communicate between the customers and the project manager. Okay, it has the clear scope of work, which is recognized by the customers and the project managers, and it helps to anticipate the start date and the finish date. Okay, so it is one of the paramount importance in project management. What are the desired results of planning? There are certain things which are, which are deemed or which are considered to be achieved when we are planning. When we have a good planning system, like we finish the project on time, there are no delays, no reworks, there is no conflict or misunderstanding. You run the project instead of the project running you. The scheduled delays are part of the project. Okay, uh, everything is shared, distributed. There is accountability of people, and we have defined their work through responsibility assignment matrix. There is a clear understanding of everyone that who will do what. Okay, and all the works are integrated. What are the principles of planning and scheduling? Okay, so there are basic three components of the project, or three constraints of the project, which is scope, budget, and schedule. So in order to develop a good project plan, these three major components, three major constraints should be handled tactfully. There should be a well defined scope which should be converted into a plan. The budget assignment should, or the estimation of the budget should be well developed. Okay, one thing make you need to make sure that the person who's developing schedule should have, some knowledge, some expertise, so that he has incorporated each and every activity in his project plan. Now the responsibility of all the parties or the stakeholders. So basically there are major three stakeholders in the project: a project manager, designer, contractor. All have their own responsibilities in planning and scheduling. A project manager, like we say, take the example of project manager who is from the client end. He will govern the work, whatever the designer and contractor is doing, because he sets the tone of the project, and he sets the priorities of the project, and he knows the finish and completion dates. So he has the main, harness for drumming the project. The designer has a particular role of designing the documents, designing it timely, so it can be timely submitted to the contractor, and he can start the execution of the works. Okay, the contractor develop a schedule for himself, and circulates amongst the team, so that the contractor can also track if there is some items to be provided by the project manager, like some delivery items, sub purchases items of the material, etc. So he also needs to develop a schedule by himself. So at the end of the day, at the end of the project, there are no disputes. Why project scheduling is done? One of the most important question, because our purpose is to show the relationship between each activity. As one activity finishes and another starts, which is called as finish to start relationship, we need to develop precedence among the relationship. Okay, and we need to set a realistic timeline. We need to make better use, optimize the resources, material, and also to identify the initial risk of bottlenecks in the project. So these are the top four uh, major items, major things which serves as the purpose of project scheduling. Now there are techniques for planning a schedule. Mostly common method is like we use Microsoft Project, but some of the industries also use Primavera. Now I've considered a project which I just installed and commissioned, and it's called a solar project of 5 megawatt, which I installed here in Pakistan. This is a short product description why the project was intended to, you know, install and what purpose it served after the installation. These are the objectives which I achieved or the company achieved after installing it. Our role was to minimize the carbon footprints, to help the environment system after installation of this renewable energy, to achieve the annual production units of 7.32 megawatt hours, and to move towards the self-sufficiency because we are facing a lot of power failures issue. There were the two stakeholders, Greaves and MMG Consultant, during this project. And these are the risks which I jolted down. These were civil risk, material risk, and energization risk. I defined a risk type with the description, the impact, the risk owner, and mitigation strategy. The intent was to know each and every person that what they could do to foresee so that the the activity does not turns into an issue. This is the Gantt chart developed in Microsoft project, in which I have listed the name of the project, then the sub WBSs, the deliveries, the construction works, which I have further divided into civil, mechanical, electrical, installation, and the final testing. This is the tracking sheet which you guys might develop while tracking a large amount of deliveries. So I list down the items that needs to arrive or niche variants, whether locally or from China. I list down and noted down the ETAs and also the remarks. Okay, for example, if there is a delay of in 20 weeks, so I listed down that this has to be arrived on 5th October, but actually, uh, since the PO is given late, the delivery is taken 20 weeks ahead of time. So, guys, thank you for your time, and I hope you understood each and everything that I explained. And if there is any feedback, please provide me feedback, and so that I can continue making the videos. Please like and subscribe, and let me know any feedback. Thank you.